Hello BookTube! My name is Faye and you're watching Mystery Date with a Book. Today we're doing a July wrap-up. Okay, so if you've watched my July TBR, you'll know that I focused mainly on one beast of a book. One book, but it was massive. And that was War and Peace by Leo Tolstoy. And I also had to finish Batman Nightwalker by Mary Lou. Right, I finished Batman. Start with Batman. I finished Batman. It was good. It was good, but not as good as every other Mary Lou's book. Like, her books are brilliant. I mean, seriously, good. But this one seemed a bit slow. I don't know what it was. It didn't feel like a Mary Lou book. There was something missing, but I'm not sure what it was. And this is part of the DC Heroes collection, the series I think they're doing. And Wonder Woman was the first one. Wonder Woman was so good. It was so much better. But Batman, it wasn't bad. It's not a bad book, but it's not as good as Wonder Woman. Okay. It's still a good read. I would still recommend it. So yes, if you want to read Batman Nightwalker by Mary Lou, please go ahead and do it because it is a really good book. Okay, then this beast of a book here. Okay, this was a challenge for me. Okay, this, I don't even know how to describe this book. War and Peace, it has over 1,400 pages. I wanted to read the whole thing in July, and look how far I got into it. Not this one, this is where the story ends. This is how close I got to it. Like, this is how much I read, and this is how much I still have to read. So, my mini review here. I've decided to DNF this book for now. I might go back to it someday. It's just not for me right now. I'm not feeling it. It put me into a reading slump through the whole month of July. It's just, I mean, there are some good aspects of the story. Some bits of the story are really good. But whenever they start talking about philosophy, there's a lot of philosophy in this book, and I was not prepared for that. And yes, when they start talking about philosophy, I just switch off. It's like, I'm reading a book to relax, to enjoy a story, you know, it's supposed to be a pleasure, but they go so deep into philosophy that it starts feeling like a chore when you're reading it, you know, it feels like schoolwork. And I don't want to do schoolwork in July. I really don't. So, you know, that was a negative point for me. All that philosophy talking, there's a lot of it. Sometimes you read and read and read and read and read, and they're still talking about philosophy, so I switched off. And when they're not talking about philosophy, they're talking about war strategies. I know nothing about war strategies. I know nothing about battles and armies and who is above whom in the army or whatever you want to call it. I don't know. So I was a bit lost. I did enjoy some parts of the battle scenes, but I feel like some of it just went over my head because I don't know who was in charge of what, or, you know, what. Like, they were talking about uniforms, about different types of uniforms and boots, and I was like, what? Is that important to the story? No, it's not. So, there's a lot of faffing about in the story, you know, a lot of unnecessary pages. This did not have to be this long. And so, you know, whenever they're not talking about philosophy or battles, you know, war strategy, it is a good book. You know, the part when they go back to is it Moscow and Pittsburgh? Is that how you call it? I can't remember. I have the memory of a goldfish, sorry guys. So yes, whenever they do go back home and, you know, stay with their families and, you know, see their friends again, it is enjoyable. I like that aspect of the story. It's a really enjoyable family life, and you know, it's nice to see what people lived like back then. You know, we're not talking about peasants here. They were rich people, like royalty. And you know, it's always interesting to see what people like that used to live like, or still do live like that. I don't know. Anyway, so yes, this book is not for me, at least not right now. I did read about 40% of the book. It took me a while. It took me a whole month to get through 40% of this book. So I'm not forcing myself to read it. There are so many other books I'd rather be reading. As soon as I decided to stop with this book, Booktubeathon was about to start. And I was a bit afraid that my reading slump would impact my Booktubeathon challenges. But it didn't. As soon as I decided to stop reading this, as soon as I freed myself from this, my arms are, from this massive book, I felt so free. I was free to read whatever I wanted to, and that felt so good. As soon as Booktubeathon started, I was reading. I read 8 books in a week for Booktubeathon. That's how hungry I was for good fictional books. Well, this is a good fictional book. It's just a different sort of book. This is like a whole project. You have to spend a lot of time with it. And I'm not about that right now. No. There are so many books I want to read. So I put War and Peace aside for some time. I don't know how long. I'm not sure when I'm going to read this book, if I'm ever going to read this book. I don't know what's happening. But for now, I'm DNFing it. And you can see, actually, I wrote on my bullet journal. You see here? I have everything. Here, like all the chapters in the book. There are 330 chapters in this book. So I got as far as, I don't know how many that is. But yeah, about 40% of the book. And because I wasn't enjoying it that much, I just stopped. That's it. That's a big summary. I stopped. So, would I recommend War and Peace? Yes, if you're into war, battle, and strategy, or Russian history. That would be good. If you're into that, yes, please go ahead and read War and Peace. Just give yourself time, okay? Don't pressure yourself to read that whole book in a month like I did to myself. I think I ruined it. I think I put a time limit and I felt so pressured into reading it. And I was reading. Sometimes I would read for a whole hour and then I looked at my progress bar and I only had read like 1% of the book. So that's very frustrating, disappointing. And after a whole month trying to read this, I had to give up. But there are people out there who really enjoyed this book. And so, yeah, if you're into war strategies and Russian history, or any sort of war history, go ahead, go read it. It's a really good book. There are a lot of characters. I lost track of all the characters sometimes. I actually had to Google a family tree and all the characters in the book because I lost track. So what I've decided to do instead is to actually watch the BBC adaptation of War and Peace, so I actually know how the story ends. I hope they've kept true to the book. I don't know. I haven't watched it yet, and I haven't read the end of the book, so I don't know. But I hope they've done a good job, and yeah, so that's the plan. I'm DNFing this book, and I'm watching the BBC adaptation not because I'm lazy, but because it's just not the right time for me. Hello again, this is future me talking. I should also mention that this was meant to be a buddy read. I was meant to read War and Peace with Hannah from Lynn Hermione. I'll leave her link down below. She's a lovely person. You should go and check her out. And she actually finished the book. I'm so proud of her. I'm so impressed. She actually finished the book in July, like within that month period that we set out. And oh my goodness, I was so rubbish in this buddy read. Like, seriously. Like, she finished the whole book and I got like 40% into it. But, you know, sometimes it happens. Sometimes it happens. But yes, big thumbs up to Lynn Hermione. Good job, girl. That's what's happening, guys. So that's it for my July wrap-up. I hope you enjoyed it. Now, my August wrap-up will be a lot more interesting, I promise you, because this is just 2 books, you know, Batman and War and Peace. But in August, I'm doing Booktubeathon, yay, and Newt's, my Newt's Magical Readathon, which lasts a whole month. So there are going to be a lot of books for us to talk about. So yes, so hold on tight. Videos are coming up soon. Booktubeathon actually should already be up, so yes, go check it out. And yeah, I think I'll leave you here with this marvelous mini review of War and Peace. And yes, if you like this video, click the thumbs up. If you're new here, hey, you can subscribe to my channel if you want to. And if you're not new here, hi, welcome back to my channel. And I hope to see you again next time. Goodbye.